Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason. And today we are back finishing off our top 10 films of every year. Let me word that better, actually. So we started this back when we first started this podcast. We said that we were going to do basically our top 10 films of every year from when we met initially all the way to like the present. So we started with 1995.
Yeah.
1995, and we've just kind of been going up through the years over the last basically 2 years or so that we've been doing this podcast almost, trying to get through these films because we broke them up into two different parts. So we would do like our, like the bottom half, which would be like our number 10 through number 6. And then, obviously, then we do the second half where this is what this show is, where we do our number 5 through number 1, and then, maybe some honorable mentions and things of that nature. This has been a fun and very challenging process, though, because it was good because we talked about a gazillion films over the, that came out over the last 25 years. And we've been going through the list, but this definitely took a lot longer than I had initially expected that we were going to finish this and get through all of these films, at the very least, I would say.
Yeah, it feels good to finally put this to bed. I mean, I love the idea. I still love the idea, but good Lord, I had no idea it would take so long to do these. Yeah.
It's been a challenge. So we're already it's been a while actually. We did the first part of 2018.
Long time ago.
Yeah, it was definitely at least a month or two ago. I don't remember how long ago.
Oh yeah, it's been longer than that, I think.
Before the holidays, I think. So yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And that was where we did our number 10 through number 6. And so now we're back on 2018, and this will be our number 5 through number 1. And then we're done because we've already done 2019. That was our very, very first show. We've already done 2020. We did that basically at sometime in the last year. And then And then we'll just be doing pretty much the years to come. So at some point we'll do a 2021 show. But I digress. So we're on our final show, which is of this series that we've been doing, which is 2018 in part 2. So once again, like I said, if you've been following, this will be our number 5 through number 1. However, on the previous show, we were supposed to do a challenge film. So basically, there was a film that Jason had assigned to me, and I assigned a film to him. He ended up doing his, but at the time that we did the show, because it had been so long since we assigned those challenge films, I completely forgot what the film even was. But now we've rectified that situation. So before we actually get into our number 5, I'm actually going to do a quick review on our challenge film. And so I say we just get right into it right now. So I'm going to bring that in. Yeah. So the film that you actually challenged me to was American Animals, which is basically, it's a true story, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a true story, which is based about 4 college kids that basically come up with a plan or devise a plan to basically steal some very expensive artwork out of like a library. So they basically all come together and they're planning on stealing his artwork, and then basically, I forget what state they're in, like Pennsylvania or something like that, but they were gonna like take the artwork to like New York to like sell for like, I don't know, millions of dollars or something of that nature. So it's supposed to be like very highly valuable artwork. And so most of the film is beginning with them talking about the plan and kind of planning it, and then obviously the execution, which I won't go into details about, just kind of leave it at that. But it's kind of funny because they're like 4 kids that don't know what they're doing. They're college kids, they're young. They're obviously not professional art thieves or anything like that. So this is not going to be some Ocean's 11 type, thievery that's going on. But it's a comedy. It's comedy drama. But in a nutshell, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good movie. Definitely liked it. This actually wasn't the first choice that you had given to me. Originally, you had given me The Domestics, which I couldn't find anywhere except for like $20 to like rent, which film that from 2018 I wasn't really trying to spend $20 on. So this was kind of the default one, which is American Animals, which is really, really funny. So it was fun. It was funny. A great story, and like I said, it's kind of based on a true story as well. But yeah, it's just one of those ones where like a group of kids get together and think they're going to devise this like flawless plan that you just know is going to probably go wrong somewhere. So yeah, definitely really, really enjoyed it, and it's a good film. So definitely a good choice, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I gave this one. I gave it three stars out of 5 is what I gave it. So definitely one that I liked. Didn't blow me away, but definitely liked it. So, but a good choice. So
Yeah, and also what I really liked about that one is that it kind of it's kind of a blend of fiction and documentary too. Because I don't know if you remember, but like the real people are in the movie too. Because it's
right,
like
I keep forgetting the
yeah,
people were in the movie. Yeah. So yeah.
yeah, because it's like partially a documentary, so you get like interviews with the actual the people who actually tried to pull this heist years
Right.
ago, and then there's even some really. I remember, it's been, I haven't seen it since 2018. I saw it in the theater in 2018. But I remember there's even some kind of creative stuff where they have like the people who are the real people are kind of in the scene with the people who are playing them and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah. So they're like doing like little cameos and things of that nature throughout the film. Yeah. So that is interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So yeah, yeah, it didn't like it wasn't the greatest thing I'd ever seen before, but I remember really enjoying that. Yeah,
For sure. Yeah.
cool.
Definitely a good choice.
Yeah,
Cool.
and did I actually talk about mine last time? I thought we put it off until this time.
What was it? Den of Thieves.
Yeah, yeah. I can't
Yeah, I
remember
don't
if I
know if
talked
you
about it
actually
or
talked
not.
about it, but I mean, if you want to go into it real quick, you can give us a quick recap or summary of it for sure. So
Yeah, which is kind of a different kind of heist movie.
yeah,
you
yeah, the
know,
whole heist movie.
um,
Sure, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Honestly, it's been a long time since I watched it. It was I checked before we started. It was September 25th when I watched Den of Thieves. That shows you. I mean, that's that had to have been after you assigned it to me. So that shows you. It's been a while since we did one of these last, probably. So
Yeah.
September 25th, and yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either. I remember thinking the opening scene is like 5 stars. The opening scene is like amazing, and it was like, oh man, I see what everybody's been saying. If the whole movie is this good, it's going to be like amazing. And I don't know. I just remember thinking like it never really held on to that adrenaline of that first scene. I never disliked it, but yeah, and I had to remember I had to actually read the review I wrote 4 months ago to remember what I thought. But it was like I remember it's like 141 minutes long, and it's one of those that it's really long, and it just didn't hold my attention the whole time. And I have kind of a hit and miss thing with Gerard Butler. Sometimes like he was just kind of playing a prick in this movie, and like I didn't like not an interesting kind of prick like Kurt Russell in Escape from New York or something. Like I don't know. I didn't like it. The only character I really liked was O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character. Ice Cube's son's character. His character I was really like invested in and enjoyed, but all the other characters I didn't really get into, I guess you could say. Yeah.
That's fair enough.
So that made it for a long 141 minutes. But I mean, it's still got some good action scenes and all that kind of stuff. So, I see the comparisons to Heat, but it's no Heat. It's no Heat,
I would,
definitely.
and he's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's like in my top 10. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely no
Yeah.
Heat, and it's not even as good as The Town. But I do love those kind of
Yeah.
films where, they try to give, kind of like almost equal parts to like the good guys and the bad guys, the cops and the robbers kind of thing. It's kind of like, it's always like crew versus crew with those films,
Yeah. Yeah.
This one was more closer related to Heat because they do kind of go into like, you do find a little bit more background about Gerard Butler's character, who's a cop in there, and then obviously the criminal's background as well. The Town, not quite as much. I mean, they still have like their cop crew, but you don't find out as much about their personal backgrounds. But so that one's a little bit more closely related to Heat in the sense that you it's kind of like almost equal timing with both the cons and the cops kind of thing. So
Yeah. And I know, like it builds up to a climax where it's like the one main criminal versus the one main cop, and I could tell it like really wanted it to be like this really wrenching moment, and I didn't really care about either of those characters, so I was just kind of ready for it to be over with.
yeah, I mean they're not.
So it wasn't like Heat, where it's like It wasn't
Yeah, I
like Heat
mean,
where it just builds up this huge head of steam
yeah, I mean, we're no
and
Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, Gerard Butler and I don't remember the other guy's name, but yeah, they're not those guys.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I just
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, no, I agree.
I
Cool.
wasn't like on the edge of my seat. I was just like, wasn't this movie supposed to end half an hour ago? So I don't know. I don't know. It was all right. It was all
Cool.
right.
Cool. Well, glad you mostly enjoyed it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to our top five, I guess, if you will. So I'll go ahead and actually kick this off just to make it simple and easy. So my number five film of 2018 is actually going to be Bad Times at Casino. Bad Times at the El Royale. Sorry, I almost
Yeah.
said at the casino, but at the El Royale, which is basically has like a really good all-star cast. It's got a bunch of people in there, and it's just it's like a gritty like thriller with like a lot of action, but also has some horror in it. And it's just like this group of people that all basically center in on this hotel one night, and they all have like a backstory to themselves. So you don't know a whole lot about any of them, but they're all kind of like they all get connected in a way because of events that happen there. And it's just like a really good thriller where you don't really know what's going to happen next, and it's like ever changing. So I just really loved it. I thought it was just really a good movie, and definitely, like I said, definitely it was actually one of those ones that I didn't see in 2018. I didn't see this one, so I think, or at least not when it first came out. It might have been 2019 before I even saw it because I saw it on like TV or something of that nature. But I just loved it as soon as I saw it. So it's really rare for me to see a movie that came out like after the year, and loved it so much that I actually subbed it in, and that's actually my number five spot. So I always love when that happens. But that's my number five, Bad Times at the El Royale.
Cool. Yeah, I really love that movie too. And I don't know why I didn't see it in the theater because, I mean, I thought it looked good. I really don't know why I didn't see it in the theater because I go see almost everything, as you know.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Maybe it just didn't play very long, or I don't know.
I don't
I don't
think
know,
it
but
did very well at the box office. I think it got pretty good reviews, but I don't recall
mm-hmm.
it like doing very well at the box office. I mean, it's got some stars in it, but there's no one's like, I mean, obviously the Hemsworth guy, but there's not really a whole lot of big names in that film. So you know what I mean, and it's like one of those films that it's like kind of hard to explain fully what it's about. So, and if you just looked at the trailer, which I probably saw at some point, it didn't look like there was anything like, oh, I've got to go see this film, necessarily to it. But when I watched it, I was like, man, I'm glad I gave this film a chance. So, for sure.
Yeah, it's complicated. It would be hard to kind of sell in a trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thoroughly loved it, and kind of in contrast to Den of Thieves, this is a movie that's well over 2 hours also, and I was like, I hung on every word of this movie. You know what I mean? It's just, it's very, it reminded me a whole lot of kind of the movies that came out in the wake of Pulp Fiction. You know what I mean? Because it's very 90s Tarantino, Roger Avery type stuff. You know what I mean? Where it's just kind of like this twisting story and all these characters that you don't know how they're connected, and then it constantly like jumps back in the timeline and forward, and those movies were everywhere in the late 90s after Pulp Fiction because that was like so cool at the time. And this movie was kind of like a flashback to those kinds of movies, and I always liked those kinds of movies, so I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, it's funny. We were just talking about a show that we're both watching, Yellow Jackets, which kind of follows that same kind of playbook where, it's like kind of in the present, but then they flash back to, back to 1996, and, and you start learning a little bit more about characters and things. And I always love films or shows that do that kind of stuff that always kind of keeps you guessing, if they're done well, of course. I don't just love them, but if they're done well, like this film was, you're just kind of invested because you want to find out what happens next. And it's like those kinds of films where you don't know where it's going to end because you don't know enough about the characters until it gets to the end of the film, because like I said, it's kind of like peeling layers of an onion. You're finding out more about every character as things go on, and like people that you think are good people, maybe bad people, and vice versa, so it's like
exactly. Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving right along to your number five film, 2018, which is going to be Black Panther.
Yep, Black Panther is my number 5. I think everyone and their mom has seen Black Panther at this point, so no need to go too far into detail about it. But as any avid viewer of this show knows that I'm definitely hit and miss when it comes to superheroes in general and Marvel in general. But this, to me, was easily one of the very best films that's come out of Marvel or any superhero movies of the last how long have these has been big again, like 12 years now, I think. Wasn't Iron Man 2008?
Since Iron Man, basically, where they started doing this, because obviously there was like Spider-Man and Hulk films that came out beforehand, but this is the first one where they've kind of like tied them all in to make like the Avengers like series or whatever, and use primarily the same actors for all those films of this particular series. So because obviously Spider-Man's been played by multiple characters in the past and things of that nature. So yeah. So like I said, it's a really, really good film. Definitely enjoy it. Definitely enjoyed it so much that I'm just going to roll right into my number 4 film, which is actually going to be Black Panther as well. So definitely I enjoy it. It's one of my favorite superhero Marvel films, I guess, if you will. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely in the top 5, probably, of the ones that are part of that Marvel Avengers, world or whatever. It's definitely in my top 5. I definitely liked a few films here and there, but this one's definitely good. It was such an epic film when it came out, and then unfortunately, the untimely passing of Chadwick Boseman's death, afterwards, it's kind of sad because he's not able to continue that franchise. But yeah, definitely one of those ones that I really, really loved. So cool. So
yeah.
All right. So moving right along to your number 3 film, and I'll bring that in, and that is going to be
number 4. Number 4.
Your number 4 film. I'm sorry. Your number 4 film, which is going to be Lean on Pete.
Okay, yeah. So Lean on Pete is, I know it's not as well known as a lot of the other films on our list, but definitely one that I highly recommend seeking out. It's easily one of the best coming-of-age movies I've seen in a long time. And I'm a big fan of coming-of-age movies, especially if they're really well done. And this one, it's one that I initially put off seeing because, I didn't see it until I was on video. Because it's it looks kind of sappy. It's about a boy and a horse. It makes you think of like a kids movie or something. It is not a kids movie. It's very, very gritty, very gritty coming of age film about a kid with a rough background who kind of forms a bond with a horse, but like. All I can say is like anything that you have in your mind about like, oh, it's about a coming of age movie about a kid and a dog or a horse or whatever, and anything that you preconceived notions you might have of that kind of movie, being like a sappy, uplifting, cheesy kind of movie, it's not that, is all I can say. I wouldn't want to say more, but if you like kind of tough, gritty coming of age movies, even if the poster doesn't make it look that way, definitely check this movie out because it's a lot better than you might think if you're just thinking like, oh, movie about a kid and a horse, how sweet. It's not that kind of movie. So, without going into any more detail, check that movie out.
Cool. Haven't seen it, but sounds like it's about a kid and a horse based on your assessment of it, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
Gritty film about a kid coming of age with a horse. I don't know. So yeah, cool, man. I'm sure anybody watching is going to be rushing out to see it now.
I hope so.
No, I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on it. But yeah, I'm sure it's got a lot going on with it. Sure, there's a lot of story there.
There is.
Cool. Now, like I said, I can't comment on it because I haven't seen it. So, but I will move right along to my number 3 film, which is going to be the 2018 Halloween. So yeah, definitely enjoyed that. Of all of the slasher films, I think Halloween has always been my favorite. I haven't liked all the ones that came before the original one, but I definitely have liked a good series of this one. And I even like the first Rob Zombie one, which a lot of people hate, and almost everybody except for you hates the sequel to that one. But
No, there's a lot of Halloween 2 believers out there. Trust me.
yeah, it's got probably some of the worst reviews I've ever seen, though. So, but yeah. In any event, I didn't like that one, but you did. But this one, this
Great
was
movie.
like definitely back to fold. So I just love this one. This one was just great. I loved every minute of it. I just thought it was just a really, really good back to fold. I love that they also, like some of the other ones have done in the past, just said forget all those crappy films that you've seen of the Halloween ones and just went straight to the good stuff. So yeah, definitely enjoyed this one, and that's why it's my number 3. Yeah, number 3 film for 2018.
Cool. Yeah, I love this one too. 2018 was a great year, so this is another one like Bad Times at the El Royale that would be. I didn't think to come up with a list of runner-ups this time, but it would definitely be pretty high up in the runner-ups. Yeah, I love the Halloween series. I've always been kind of a Jason guy at heart, not just because we share the same name, but I've always been kind of a Friday the 13th fan. I think first and foremost, as far as the big slasher heavy hitters go. But I definitely love Nightmare on Elm Street, and I love Halloween too, and Halloween also, and Halloween too. So. But I like, all three of those franchises are pretty interesting, really, if you follow them all the way along from the beginning, because the different routes that filmmakers have had to take to explain or not explain the ones that came before it. And Halloween in particular, I think, has like 3 or 4 different timelines, if you look at it.
Especially
so it's like, I mean, this is
not Laurie Strode's sister or not, and all the other stuff with that. So yeah.
Right. So you've got I'm not going to go all the way into it, but I mean, like, you've got the timeline that goes from 1 to 6 straight through. You've got the timeline that goes from 1 to 2 to H2O, because keep in mind this is the second time they've tried to restart it. You know what I mean? Like, it goes from 1 to 2 to H2O, and then H2O to the reality TV one. I can't remember. Resurrection, maybe, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and then you've got this one that even knocks out number 2, Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, and goes straight from the first one. And then, of course, you've got like the Rob Zombie ones that are kind of like their own separate little island. And I don't know, it's pretty fascinating, really, if you think about it. But it's like 4 different timelines in this one little series. But anyway, long story short, I do really like this one. I like all the movies in the series, really, except for Halloween 5, to be honest. But this one was really good. I dug it. And I guess that's that. Yeah, it's a Halloween movie, and I liked it.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Cool. Awesome.
Got off on a little bit of a tangent there, which I tend to do when it comes to horror movies.
Not a problem. Not a problem. We're still moving right along. So we're moving right along to your number 3 film, which is going to be Mission Impossible Fallout.
Okay, yeah. So Mission Impossible Fallout, it's another great Mission Impossible movie is all I can say, really. I've always been, I'll take any Mission Impossible movie over any James Bond movie, any Jason Bourne movie. Not that I don't like those other ones, but it's just kind of my favorite long-running action franchise. Oh, any Fast and the Furious movie. Like, again, I don't dislike those. I just, something about the Mission Impossible movies is just my kind of thing. It's got like really great action, but it's got kind of a different vibe than all those other ones, and it's got like, I don't know, I've never been like a big spy movie, I've never been like a James Bond fan really all that much. Not that I don't like several of those movies, but international espionage has never been really my thing. But for some reason, the Mission Impossible movies just do it in a way that's much more fun and kind of lighthearted, but still like kick-ass action at the same time. They're just my kind of thing. So I've loved everyone in the franchise except for I think pretty much everybody knows that Mission Impossible 2 is the weak link. Yeah. But I'll even watch that one every once in a while. You know what I mean? But beyond that, I think all the other films in the franchise, except for Mission Impossible 2, are some of the best action movies that have ever been made, honestly. So this one was just another great Mission Impossible movie. So I'm looking forward to the next one if it ever comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked Mission Impossible Fallout as well. So much so that it is actually my number 2. So,
All right.
we can just knock that right out of the way. It's like I said, it is a really really good action film. I've never been a big James Bond guy either, so I'll agree with you on that. I've liked a few of them. They've always been hit or miss for me. I really love Casino Royale, which is probably why I almost loved the other one previously. I really really love Casino Royale. I thought that was the best one that I've seen, and I haven't seen all the previous ones with Roger Moore and all those ones. So I can't comment on the older ones, but this is definitely it's a complete franchise. I definitely like it outside of the second one, kind of like you, which I don't hate. I just don't love it as much as the other ones, really. But I also like the Jason Bourne films, and I also like the Fast and Furious films. So I don't know. I don't really compare them. I don't really, because they're kind of different. Obviously, the Fast and Furious ones are just like the over the top, crazy action, revved up car ones. So it's kind of hard to really compare, in my opinion. And then obviously the Bourne one, it's more about. It's more closely related to this one, but it's not really so much mission intensive. It's more him on the run and more gritty action, I guess, if you will. So it's just like more of a grittier action film. So, but this was a phenomenal film. Definitely loved it. That's why it's number 2 on my countdown. And I don't even know what the best one of the series is. But this one would definitely probably be in at least the top 3 for me, if not top 2. So,
yeah,
cool. All right, moving right along to your number 2, which is going to be Roma.
Okay, all right. So Roma is the latest film by Alfonso Cuarón, who most people know from Gravity, Children of Men, films like that. And I'm going to say I don't remember what this movie's about. I saw it, it's been like 3 years, and I forgot to look up the synopsis before we started. But all I can say is this movie, you know how it is. You see a movie and you love it, and you love it. But if it's been 3 years, especially when you're in your 40s, like you and me, you don't remember much about it except that you loved it. And this is one of those. Like I've never gone back to it again. I will one of these days because I loved it. But I don't remember anything outside of, I remember specific moments. I don't remember much about the story. But I will say that this movie, I remember this movie blowing me away. It does the thing that Alfonso Cuarón likes to do, which is those really long, complicated shots. And I love that kind of stuff. I love it when you can tell that a shot has been really planned and orchestrated to where like the camera's just running for 10 minutes and things are happening and everything is in perfect alignment, and it's just like you can just kind of drink that in. It's like that's like real cinema to me when you have those really long, complicated takes. And I just remember being like utterly blown away by this movie. And to me, it really, not that I dismissed Netflix movies before that, because I mean at this point a lot of really great filmmakers have put out their movies through Netflix. But that was like, wow. Like, I mean, like Netflix is not just throwaway stuff anymore. Like this is like real, like masterpiece level cinema. So it's, it's long. It's pretty sad. So maybe that's why I haven't gone back to it. But it's also just a really great movie. That's all I can say.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so can't really comment on it, but sounds like another movie that you described really, really well, like Lean on Pete. So yeah, I mean, if you're encouraging people to watch it that haven't seen it, which more people have probably seen Roma because it was Oscar nominated and won awards and things of that nature. So this one definitely, and it's on Netflix, and more people have seen this one. I just personally haven't seen it. But I will agree with your sentiment. This was the first one that even myself, I had heard about it winning awards, and I was like, really, a Netflix film is getting like all these accolades and things of this nature. So this was kind of a film that, having not seen it, I would say at the very least, like you said, gave Netflix some prestige in terms of like, hey, you can put a really high quality film on Netflix, and it can still win awards. It can still go to the award season and things of that nature. I mean, of course, by now we know because of COVID helped as well, because a lot of films had to go on Netflix or Amazon or whatever case because of COVID, back in 2020 and parts of 2021. But this was definitely a film that even myself, I didn't see it, but even myself, I was like, oh, wow, well, that's interesting. I didn't think that they would get those kinds of films. I always thought that Netflix is more about television shows and older movies, you know what I mean, that are, that they're re-releasing on there. So I'll agree with you on that for sure. So,
yeah.
Cool.
Excellent movie. I just don't remember what it was about.
Not a problem.
Cool. It's not a movie about plot. It's one of those movies. It's not, the plot is not the most important thing. The plot is like kind of the way the story is told as opposed to the story itself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that are like that,
Yeah.
Or it doesn't really necessarily matter what the plot is. And if you try to explain the plot to somebody, they may not be that interested in it anyways. You just have to kind of see it. Kind of like, I don't know, E.T. Mama Tom Bien or something of that nature, where
right.
I don't really need to explain to you the plot. I just need to say, hey, it's a good movie. Check it out.
So. Which was also him.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Or like Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction is not about plot. Pulp Fiction is about design and how amazingly entertaining it is while you're watching it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because I mean, you'd be hard pressed to really, even myself, to explain, the whole plot of Pulp Fiction or some of those other films. So not completely.
Yeah, it's not about plot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, moving right along to my number one film, which Cat's Out of the Bag is also going to be, I guess, your number one film. So I'll just go ahead and bring it in real quick, and that is going to be Blackkklansman. So that is both of our number one films for 2018. Just a really, really good Spike Lee joint. About most people have seen this film, but if you haven't, it's obviously about a black man living in a black cop or detective. Was he a detective or was he for the FBI?
Oh no, he's a detective.
Yeah, detective. Yeah,
or a cop.
Black.
I don't know the difference there really, but
yeah, I don't remember. He's not like a beat cop or whatever he is. He's like some detective or something on it. I haven't seen it in a couple of years myself, but yeah, he basically black man that infiltrates basically infiltrates the Ku Klux Klan. Basically, mostly kind of like over the phone. And then he had basically his white, technically Jewish counterpart basically go in and basically be him, when he actually had to meet somebody. So it was a very interesting film based on a true story. Really, really good. It was funny in a lot of parts as well. So it's got a lot of humor, but just, definitely is really interesting story. You know what I mean? It's just something that you just, to hear about a black man, basically infiltrating and somewhat joining the Ku Klux Klan, able to fool them and make a way in. And he still has like his card, carrying card or whatever for like being like a member of the Klan or whatever. So it's very interesting. But I enjoyed it. It's definitely one of one of my favorite Spike Lee films as well. I love a lot of Spike Lee films, or I should say I like a lot of Spike Lee films, but I don't love a lot of them for some reason. They're just not, they're always good. But there's only like a really handful that really stick out to me that I, put in that upper echelon. And this would be one of them for sure. So.
Yeah. I'm a big Spike Lee fan. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. I like that he's always trying new things. He's not doing the same movie over and over again by any means. And like any filmmaker who is always, swinging for the fences, it's not always gonna work. But even his misfires, I tend to at least like, most of the time. So this is definitely one of his very best movies, though. And it was good that it was he hadn't had a real good hit in a while, but this was a hit. Like it did well pretty much across the board with critics, and it even did well, at the
box office as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he hadn't had like a movie that was big at the box office in a really long time. So
Yeah.
I'm glad this gave him like some clout again, in the box office marketplace,
I agree.
But yeah, I thought it was just fantastic. It was easily in a very good year. I think 2018 was a very good year. But
No, it was a really, really good year. And so, like I said, there's a lot of films that weren't in your top 10 that I was, surprised about, like, Bad Times at, the Royale or, the Halloween. And, there's a few that, I thought might have made it, but didn't make a year. And there's a lot of ones that just from my memory, I thought would have been in my top 10 that didn't make it as well. I did make a quick list just of some of my runner-ups that I'll just read through real quick. So it was like Ready Player One, Unsane, Summer of '84. I put Green Book on there. I haven't seen it in a while. I remember liking it initially, but I have to re-see that one again. Crazy Rich Asians, The First Purge, and then The Night Comes for Us. So.
Yeah. I forgot to put a list together, but those would have all been on it pretty much, except for like Ready Player One was in the bottom half of my top 10. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I like all of those movies quite a bit. Yeah. Yep.
For sure.
And more.
Cool.
It was a good year.
Cool. Yeah. Well, we finished. We're done with our, our going back to 1995 and all the way up to, basically 1998, really. So we're finally done. So now all our top 10s will be, of the year anyways, will be, for now anyways, will be movies moving forward. I mean, who knows? Maybe someday we decide to go back prior to that, but I'm not in any hurry to do that anytime soon. I'm not in a hurry to go, 1980s or whatever case may be. I'm in no rush for sure. So definitely we'll take a long awaited break from something of that nature. So
yeah. And I've been having some technical difficulties today. I think my microphone is tired of the top 10 lists even. So
yeah, exactly.
My
exactly
microphone
right.
gave up on them too.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we still may do other list shows. We were doing like, pandemic films and things of that nature. So I don't know, maybe we'll think of some other ones that we could do in the meantime. If anything sounds good, we'll do those as well. And then obviously we're constantly watching new movies. So there'll be, a ton more movies coming out on our countdown soon for sure. So, or in our list shows for sure. So cool.
Yeah. I love lists.
But yeah, let us know down in the comments. We not mentioned any films that were your tops. Keep in mind that we did do a first half of the show, so you might want to go back, and I'll link that in the description as well. So if you're gonna check out that show as well, because there's a lot of films that were on that, and that was, like I said, a couple months ago that we did that one. But yeah, definitely let us know down in the comments your list. As always, if you like the channel, we ask that you like, subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification, and we'll be back again soon with another show for you guys. We thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.